Hello students, welcome to SR Concepts. I am Ravi Verma and in this video I will discuss the next topic, that is hierarchy of classification of the chapter diversity in living organisms. So dear students, previously we have discussed about what is classification and what is evolution. We also ended up with the same topic, that is the hierarchy of classification, right? So again we are starting with the same topic, that is hierarchy of classification. Now we know that when we classify the organisms, first of all we divide them into bigger larger groups, they are called kingdoms. Then the kingdoms are divided into smaller groups known as phyla, or singular is the phylum, or the division if the classification is of plants. Then the phylum or division is classified into classes, then classes into orders, orders into families, families into genus, and then genus, a particular genus may have different species, or we can say a particular genus may be classified into different species. So we can say that species is the smallest group of organisms having minimum number of individuals but maximum number of similarities. In the same way, kingdom is the largest group that has maximum number of individuals but minimum number of similarities among them. Okay, so an example of systematics of human being means the classification of human being is given here. How? Let's check it. So first of all, human belongs to the kingdom Animalia, right? So we the human beings are also a kind of animal. Then we belong to a phylum Chordata. Then in the phylum Chordata, you know that the kingdom Animalia has many phyla. For example, Porifera, Porifera, Coelenterata, Annelida, and Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Platyhelminths, Esculents. There are a number of phylum, right? Number of phyla actually, and out of those phyla, we belong to the phylum Chordata. In the same way, the phylum Chordata is divided into multiple classes, but out of those classes, we belong to the class Mammalia, right? Then the class Mammalia is divided into multiple, right? More than one orders, right? We belong to the order Primata out of them. In the same way, we belong to the family Hominidae, the genus is Homo, and our species is Sapiens. Species is Sapiens. So we are called Homo sapiens. Notice here that the name that we have today means the biological name, or we can say the geological name of human being is Homo sapiens, where Homo represents the genus of human being and sapiens represent the species of human being. This is called binomial nomenclature, right? Binomial nomenclature, about this we will be discussing later in this chapter, right? Okay, so now let's move on to the next slide. Here we start the 5 kingdom classification system. So dear students, the 5 kingdom classification system was actually given by Robert Whittaker, and he categorized, or we can say he classified all the living organisms into 5 classes known as Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. The basis of classification were the cell structure, that is the complexity of the cell. Then the complexity of the cell may be either eukaryotic or prokaryotic cells, right? Then the body organization, that may be unicellular or multicellular, and the modes of nutrition, that may be of different types like autotrophic, right, heterotrophic, and heterotrophic itself is of different types, for example saprotrophic, ingestive, and parasitic, right? Dear students, the kingdom Monera, we will be discussing that the kingdom Monera actually that kingdom in which all the organisms have prokaryotic cells. So the prokaryotes are included in kingdom Monera, and there was a scientist, right, called who classified the kingdom Monera into Archaebacteria, simply called Archaea, and Eubacteria, simply called bacteria. So we can say that the Monerans are of 2 types. One are the Archaea, the other are Eubacteria, that is simply bacteria. Alright, So look at the five kingdom classification system. We will discuss about how this classification was done, right? So suppose that we draw a line. Here we drawn a line, right? And we will say that we will put the prokaryotic organisms below this line and eukaryotic organisms above this line, right? So this criteria, this line represents the first criteria, that is the complexity of the cell, right? So we have put all the prokaryotic organisms below this line, and these all organisms are given the kingdom Monera, means these all organisms belong to kingdom Monera. So we can say the major feature of kingdom Monera is actually the type of cell, that is the prokaryotic cells, and obviously all the monerans or all the prokaryotic organisms are unicellular. Now we will draw another line. This second line will represent another basis of classification, that is the organism is unicellular or multicellular, that is the number of the cell in the body of the organisms. So below this line we will put unicellular organisms, right, and above this line we will put multicellular organisms. We have already drawn this line. Below this line we put prokaryotic, and above this line we had put eukaryotic organisms. So dear students, this the organisms coming between these two lines, right, these two lines have two features: one that they are unicellular, other that they are eukaryotic. So these all organisms were given the kingdom Protista, so they are called the kingdom Protista. So what we can say about kingdom Protista, that kingdom Protista is the kingdom of organisms which are unicellular and eukaryotic. Now the organisms above this line are multicellular. So these all organisms like kingdom Plantae, fungi and animalia, these all organisms are actually multicellular, right? So because they are above this line, that means they are eukaryotic, and because they are above this line, this one, right, they are multicellular. So we can say that these all the organisms, these all the organisms are multicellular and eukaryotic. Now we will divide these all multicellular eukaryotic organisms on the basis of another criteria, that will be the mode of nutrition. So the organisms which were green or which had autotrophic mode of nutrition, they were given the kingdom Plantae, they were called plants. So we can say that the kingdom Plantae has three features, that they are multicellular, they are eukaryotic, and they show autotrophic mode of nutrition. And you know that autotrophic mode of nutrition means the organism may produce its own food inside its own body, inside its own cells. So plants which are green, which have autotrophic mode of nutrition, given the kingdom Plantae. Now the organisms which had saprotrophic mode of nutrition. Saprotrophic means a mode of nutrition in which organism absorbs the food material from certain outside source, from dead and decaying organic material. So for example, if we talk about the fungus, right, the fungus is growing on a bread or fungus is growing on a wood, then the fungus will release certain digestive enzymes on that particular decaying organic material, digest that wood, digest that decaying leather, right, and absorb the digested food materials into his cells. So because of this, the mode of nutrition is called saprotrophic or absorptive, right? Saprotrophic mode of nutrition means the organism obtains food from dead and decaying organic material. Absorptive means it is actually absorbing the food from dead and decaying organic material. So that's why this is called both the saprotrophic mode of nutrition or absorptive mode of nutrition. So the organisms, which most of the organisms in this group were included in means fungi. So most of the fungi show the mode of nutrition, that is saprotrophic mode of nutrition. However, there are many fungi which are parasitic as well, means which are not absorptive, which do not show saprotrophic mode of nutrition, right, which are growing actually on the body of other organisms and obtaining the nutrition from them. In that case, the organism is called a parasite, and that mode of nutrition is called parasitic mode of nutrition. Now if we talk about kingdom Animalia, right, the Animalia, all the multicellular eukaryotic organisms which had ingestive mode of nutrition were included in kingdom Animalia. What is the meaning of ingestive mode of nutrition? If we talk about ingestive mode of nutrition, which is actually also called the holozoic mode of nutrition. So if we talk about that one, wait a minute. So if we talk about that holozoic mode of nutrition or ingestive mode of nutrition, that is the nutrition of animals in which the organism ingests the food inside the body, then the digestion is done inside the body. So whenever the food is ingested, that is called ingested mode of nutrition, and this ingestion is done only in animals. Ingestion means bringing the food inside the body, and digesting the food inside the body only, right? So all the multicellular organisms having ingestive mode of nutrition and having eukaryotic cells were put in the kingdom Animalia. So I hope you got the basis of classification, right? How the organisms were classified into these different kingdoms. Now dear students, Carl who's given this 3-domain classification of living organisms, means he made a whole domain that is called archaea out of the Monera. So we can say that the kingdom Monera was classified into 2 domains. Kingdom Monera was classified into 2 domains, the domain archaea and domain bacteria, and all the eukaryotic organisms were put into another domain. So there are 3 domains of life: the archaea, the bacteria, and eukarya, right? So this was actually done on the basis of certain biochemical studies on the RNA of the organisms, right? Okay, now let's discuss about the kingdom Monera in a little bit more detail. Dear students, kingdom Monera are those which do not have a defined nucleus, right, and do not have a membrane bound cell organelles, means the cells are prokaryotic and they are unicellular. The mode of nutrition in kingdom Monera is actually of multiple types. For example, some of the bacteria may be autotrophic, some may be heterotrophic, and out of those some may be saprotrophic and some may be parasitic as well, right? So there are certain phototrophic bacteria or phototrophic monerans. For example, cyanobacteria are completely phototrophic, right? And there are many more phototrophic bacteria or autotrophic bacteria, right? But there are many heterotrophic bacteria also, saprotrophic bacteria also. So dear students, kingdom Monera actually include the archaebacteria, eubacteria. Cyanobacteria are actually a part of eubacteria. Here you can see the bacteria may be of different sizes. For example, if the cell is rounded, then they are called coccus or cocci, right? If the cell is rod shaped, then they are called bacillus, right? They are called bacillus. If the cell is vibrio, they are called, if the cell is comma like, they are called vibrio, and if it is spiral, then they are called spirillum, right? So there are different groups, different types of bacteria by shape. Okay, now if we talk about certain more examples of monerans, a very important thing is given here. You can see cyanobacteria. Certain examples are nostoc and anemona. So this one is a cyanobacteria that is called nostoc, right? And this has a specialized cells known as heterocysts, and these cells perform nitrogen fixation. So heterocysts are the specialized cells which perform nitrogen fixation, right? And in this way we can say that the cyanobacteria have 2 abilities. One is the photosynthesis and the other is nitrogen fixation. Okay, now here you can see the different examples. You can note these examples in your diary also, in your copy, in your notes also. Now let's move on to the next kingdom, that is kingdom Protista. You know that unicellular and eukaryotic organisms are called kingdom Protista, right? They have different appendages for movement. For example, they have bristle-like structures known as cilia and web-like structures known as flagella for their movement. If we talk about mode of nutrition, then there may be both autotrophic and heterotrophic, right? Autotrophic examples are dinoflagellates and diatoms. If we talk about saprotrophic also, then cymols are the protists which are saprotrophic mode of nutrition. Protozoa is a whole group which is included in Protista and which has ingestive mode of nutrition. So protozoa means primitive animals because they have ingestive mode of nutrition. If we talk about uh, amoeba, paramecium, they are included in protozoa. Euglena includes Euglena has a mixotrophic mode of nutrition. That means when Euglena is in light, then it has actually the chloroplast, and the chloroplast perform photosynthesis in the light. But there, when the Euglena is in dark, it is actually showing holozoic mode of nutrition, right? So this is why here both autotrophic and holozoic mode of nutrition is shown by Euglena. That's why this mode of nutrition is called mixotrophic mode of nutrition. Certain examples are given here along with the pictures. So Euglena, paramecium and amoeba, all these three are included in protists. All right, now if we talk about kingdom fungi, dear students, let's read about them. They are eukaryotic multicellular, but their most prevalent mode of nutrition is the saprotrophic mode of nutrition, right? They may also be parasites when they are living in the protoplasm or they are living inside the body of some host organisms, right? They have cell walls, and the cell wall is made up of complex sugar known as chitin, right? Yeast, molds and mushrooms are the examples of them. If we talk about lichen, then you can see on the green plant, on the branches of the leaves, or you can see on the rocks in during the rainy seasons. You will see that there are greenish patches on them, right? These greenish patches may be the lichens, and lichens is such an organism. Actually, this is actually an association between a bacteria known as cyanobacteria and the fungi. Cyanobacteria and the fungi. So certain fungal species may live along with the cyanobacteria in a close relationship in which both the fungus and cyanobacteria are helpful to each other. Then this such association is called the lichen, and such a relationship is called a symbiotic relationship. So symbiotic relationship means mutually beneficial relationship. So lichens are not the individual organisms, but lichens are actually a mixture, or we can say a combination of a fungus and a cyanobacteria, right? Okay, so dear students, in a lichen always there are two types of components. One are the algal component and other are the fungal component. Algal means cyanobacterial component, right? So that is called phycobiont. The algal individual is called phycobiont and the fungal individual is called mycobiont. Okay, so dear students, once we have finished the kingdom fungi, right? Now let's move on to here you can see certain examples like yeast, penicillium, agaricus. Agaricus is also called mushroom, and here you can see the lichen, right? Here you can see the lichen, right? So these are the examples of kingdom plantae. Now kingdom fungi. Now let's talk about kingdom plantae. So kingdom plantae, you have the usual features of kingdom plantae are that they are multicellular and eukaryotic with the cellulosic cell wall, means the cell wall made up of cellulose, and they show autotrophic mode of nutrition because they have chlorophyll, and chlorophyll performs photosynthesis to produce food inside its own cells. So you can define kingdom plantae as the kingdom of organisms which are eukaryotic, multicellular and show autotrophic mode of nutrition and have cell walls made up of cellulose, right? So here you can see the examples of kingdom plantae. Now if we talk about kingdom animalia, right, the basic features, the most important features of kingdom animalia or animals are multicellular eukaryotes without cell walls and with ingestive mode of nutrition. Thank you for watching the video. In the next video we are going to discuss the classification of kingdom plantae into different groups. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel and share the video if you really like it. Thank you.